Hello and welcome to the WOW Connected Empowering Women Through Sports, brought to you by our partners, Fresh Fine Wine. I'm Jade Kenny, and joining me, as always, are my lovely co-hosts. Good morning, ladies. We have Stephanie Jokian and Janine Samuels. Switching the intro up a little bit today. Coming up in segment 2, we chat with the Washington Times legal affairs reporter, Alex Swoyer. After covering a controversial murder story as a student reporter at Mizzou, she eventually went to law school in Florida. After graduation, she decided to leave the courtroom and return to the newsroom as a reporter here in DC. We are going to dive into how she handles covering such high-profile cases and how she sends the elevator back down. So make sure you stick around for that. Ladies, we have so much to be thankful for this show. I think celebration is in order. If you somehow missed it, the Washington football team beat the Bengals for the first time since I was born. Since 1991, they beat the Bengals 20-9. There is a 3-way second place tie in the NFC East, and it's Dallas week. We have a lot going on. Let's talk about that game.
Whew. Go ahead, Janine.
Yay! Yay!
Put you on the spot.
It was just so exciting, right? So exciting to get the win. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. I feel like, we did what we needed to do. We put the pressure on the quarterback. Obviously the unfortunate news with Joe Burrow and him going out was an advantage to us, right? So we ended up overall having 4 sacks. We did a good job spreading the love offensively, which I think keeps the other team guessing because they don't know where we're going to, send the ball. And I just think overall defense and offense just did a good job. And it was really a team effort across the board.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. It was a whole team effort. We worked hard for that win. Our young guys stepped up with some key vets. So, I mean, that actually shows you what we have to look forward to.
Yeah, and it's the first time that we've won at home against the Bengals since 1985. So just a huge win for us. I'm not going to, we're not throwing a parade. They're not the best team, obviously, but they showed us that they're a complete team. They can put together a complete game. And that is what we've been asking for. I mean, you've seen the last couple of games, how close it's been. So just to see it kind of all come together at a time where we need it most, especially heading into this game against Dallas. I want to note Chase Young. He is a beast. His numbers may not be showing just how impactful he is as a rookie. I mean, that hit against Burrow on 4th down. I mean, that meme, I've seen it all over the internet, like 2020 coming at you hard. And I just love seeing his energy also on the sidelines too. That guy he's a leader and he's a rookie. So I just love seeing that.
He is. And they said in his conference that he works hard off the field too. So he's just all around, sounds like he's just going to take our team somewhere great.
Yeah. And I think what's really fun for this week and for this game is obviously it's Dallas week. And in a world full of uncertainty and 2020 as crazy as it's been, this is something that we can look forward to. Normalcy. We are playing the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. And this game, the stakes are really high. The winner of this game will be in first place for the NFC East. So what do we got to do?
Well, Coach Rivera basically said we have to make sure that we take care of the players, both their minds and their body. Obviously, they're going to be studying a lot, right? They want to make sure that they know what Dallas is going to do and how they're going to do it. So I think, studying the tapes and really making sure that they're prepared from a play standpoint is super important. But we've got to continue to just move the ball down the field methodically. I feel like we did a really good job with that against the Bengals. So we need to continue that. And we did a really good job running the ball in the second half on Sunday. So stick with that. And then obviously continue the passing game.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a short week, although Dallas is coming off of a good win. We don't have a lot of time to prepare, so hopefully we'll click and we'll work on those things that did work, make them better. I think that it's a big game, like we've been saying, to win. The Giants are going to play the Bengals, which now that Burrow's out, I think they'll win. Then we go on to play the undefeated Steelers. So this game is important. Not only does Dallas play big when they're home for Thanksgiving, but just overall, like, we got to get this win. We have to get this win for so many reasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and Andy Dalton. Oh, sorry, Jay. I was just going to say that, Andy Dalton has a few standout weapons on his side. So we have to really make sure that our defense is just as aggressive, if not more, going into this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and all I was going to say is we keep preaching it, but we just need another complete game. We need all parts to be moving all together. We got to keep that momentum, and it's not going to be a cakewalk. Dallas has a a lot of pressure. They have a fast defense. Don't let their numbers fool you. I mean, their front seven is intense, and we really need to make sure that our O-line is ready and that Alex Smith, which he has proven is ready, can get rid of that ball fast and that pressure is coming. It's going to be an exciting one. I can't wait to have my turkey and watch this game. Oh, I can't wait. All right. As we've mentioned here on the WOW, we love to give you access to the Washington football team. So do you have a question for a Washington football player? If so, make sure you're following at WOW Washington to find out how you can ask a player a question and have it answered right here on the WOW. This week, check out what WOW member Barbara asked my new favorite player, Wes Schweitzer.
Hi, my name is Barbie Buckner, and I am a WOW member. And I was wondering, Wes, what would you consider a fun date night to be?
Ooh, just she makes a nice, good meal that I was talking about before. You know, we just settle down and just watch a good movie.
Has your business been affected by COVID-19? Have you considered reducing or moving your office space? Then it's time to call Victory Van. We provide the best service and price with flexible options for your company's moving and storage needs. Visit victoryvan.com to get your free moving and storage quote today. For corporate storage and moving, it's always the right move to choose Victory Van. That's victoryvan.com, Victory Van Corporation, delivering excellence for 75 years and proud partner of the Washington football team.
Finch Services Incorporated, recognized in its industry as a world-class organization, is the exclusive supplier of John Deere golf and sports turf maintenance equipment for the Mid-Atlantic region. In business since 1945, Finch helps golf course and sports turf managers maintain some of the most exclusive playing surfaces in the region. Experience the Finch advantage for yourself. Contact one of our golf and sports turf sales specialists to see how we can help you maintain your field of dreams. Go to finchturf.com for more information.
At RTS, game day strategy doesn't stop when the whistle blows. RTS delivers smarter, more responsible waste and recycling services. As an official partner of the Washington football team, RTS is connecting the team and FedEx Field with sustainable solutions to care for the community and the environment. RTS, a better waste company. Find out more at rts.com.
Welcome to the WOW Spotlight. We are thrilled to have joining us today the Washington Times legal affairs reporter, Alex Swoyer. Alex is originally from Texas, but left the Lone Star State to attend Mizzou, where she graduated with a bachelor's degree in broadcast journalism. While there, she covered a controversial murder story as a student reporter and eventually went to law school in Florida. After graduating, she decided to leave the courtroom and return to the newsroom as a legal affairs reporter here in DC. She has covered the 2016 and 2020 campaign, the Supreme Court, the Trump impeachment trial, and the Supreme Court vacancies. You must be busy. You may have also seen her on WJAL, Fox News, and Fox and Friends. Alex, welcome to the WOW.
Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, it's been a pretty busy 4 years.
I can imagine. I want to start. I also majored in broadcast journalism. And I remember as a kid, like the moment I was like, oh, I want to do this. So I want to ask, was there a moment or how did you know you wanted to get into journalism?
I had always knew that I wanted to be a reporter of some kind. Generally, I think it was in high school, I started talking to my parents about it and doing research about what journalism programs are out there in terms of college opportunities. And so I kind of always had an idea that I was just a very curious person. And so that seemed to be the right route to go.
Yeah, and so what's interesting about that is it seems like when you started out as a student reporter, you covered a controversial murder story. And I know for me personally, that likely would have been like, okay, I'm done. Yeah, no, like the whole murder thing. Yeah, I'm good. So what was that like, likely being one of your first stories?
Yeah, so what's interesting about the University of Missouri and why I chose that school is they have their own NBC affiliate. So my professors were actually the news director and the anchors, and then us student reporters got to go live and do, you know, various packages. So when I was there that I was covering it was in Columbia, Missouri, kind of a small town compared to Houston where I grew up. And so murders were rare. And there was one that had occurred and everyone in town knew about it. And a young man had been convicted based on eyewitness testimony of his friend, basically saying, you know, I was there with him when this happened, but it had been unsolved for many years. So I came into the picture when that eyewitness said, you know, I think I was wrong. I dreamt this up. And the boy had a history of drug use. So it ended up being that after 16 years or so, this young man was released from prison. And so I was basically able to break the eyewitness, the boy who was the eyewitness that had come forward and said, we did this. I was able to break that story. And so I covered it for a few years as that legal process worked out. And now Ryan Ferguson was the boy who was in prison. He has been released.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
That is amazing.
Well, it's a very curious story because his friend actually, had some sort of plea agreement, right? So he's still doing time, but he wasn't sentenced as long as Ryan was. So now he's trying to basically fight to get out of his agreement because he says, I was wrong. I was fed this by the prosecutors. I think I dreamed it. It's a very sad story, especially because of course, there's a victim in all of this. A lot of times people forget to, as many years go by, that there's still a grieving family. So, who thought that they were given justice in one hand, but then weren't. So it's something that a town like that doesn't experience often. And it even led to Dateline and 48 Hours doing a few different, segments or shows on it.
Wow. So you just brought up this great point that we forget that there's this grieving family. There's so many angles to every story. So for you, as you've been covering the past 4 years and what's been going on with our president, and how do you stay unbiased and how do you show every angle fairly?
I think that I'm lucky in that I cover legal affairs because it's very hard not to be able to show both sides of a story when you have a plaintiff and a defendant. Usually you're able to take from their two sides and their court documents and say, this is what one side says, this is what the other. So in that respect, it's very, easy to do. The other part is I just always think to myself when I'm on Capitol Hill, for example, and doing coverage there, one side is saying one thing, the other side, I need to include that because it's really ultimately up to the reader to decide who they believe, where they believe the truth lies. It's not up to us in terms of being journalists. It's our responsibility to give them all the information and let the public educate themselves.
Can I just insert one more question? Sorry, ladies, but what did you find most interesting then in the impeachment trials recently?
Yeah, so I guess, again, it's interesting to me to combine those two, right? Because I think a lot of people say, oh, you're a lawyer, you cover the courts, like covering an impeachment trial is, I'm sure you covered trials before, but it's very different because there is obviously a lot of politics involved. It's not your normal, courtroom show that you see and you expect from the opening statements to the closing statements and how a judge would rule. So there was definitely politics at play, but I still think you present both sides, what the Democrats were saying, what President Trump's defense team was saying. And again, the public can decide for themselves. And I think that obviously we've lived in a very partisan time that I wasn't really sure going into the trial if there was going to be much minds changed.
And I'm going to stay on this, not that we're grilling you for being a reporter, but I'm obviously super interested in this as well. How do you earn the public's trust for this? There's been, over the last couple of years, there's been so much up and down, and you watch certain networks for different beliefs, but how do you as a reporter keep that, media ethics and earn that trust?
Yeah, I try to be as honest and transparent, obviously, as I can. I think it's different when you also have now social media where readers can interact with you and ask questions. So I welcome that. If I do put a story out that, one side or the other doesn't like, a lot of times I get tweets or whatnot, and I try to respond to as many as I can or clarify anything that might be unclear. I think that as long as you do represent both sides, I personally try not to put any spin, never, on any story. So I take it as a compliment often when I get kind of heat from both sides. I think to myself, well, if I'm making one side unhappy, it's good that the other side is unhappy too, or vice versa. If one side likes the story, the other side likes the story, I'm like, well, I must be doing something right. I'm finding some sort of a balance.
That's a great way to look at it when you see both sides of it.
Yeah, and so talk a little bit just about following your passion, right? And so being in journalism, I know for me, I actually left corporate America to become a full-time reporter, anchor, and then just was like, whoa, I don't know if this is really what I want to do. I think I let fear and doubt, kind of get the best of me. I let the paycheck that wasn't that great get the best of me. And then I ended up going back into consulting, and now I'm back into my passion career. And I feel like I wasted a lot of years there. So what advice do you have for, anyone that maybe wants to follow their passion career and maybe the money isn't there, or they're new at it, or they have fear, they have doubt? Like, how do you keep pushing forward to make sure you stay in the game and truly do what it is that you desire?
Well, I guess there's a lot of good information in that question. I think that first, I went to journalism school, as we discussed, and then I covered that controversial murder story. And I thought to myself, I talked to a lot to lawyers during that time. I thought if I wanted to go to law school ever, I should do that now. I wasn't married at the time, didn't have kids, right? And so I thought, the money is an issue. It's very expensive. But where there's a will, there's a way. And so I looked at ways to get scholarship opportunities. I took out so much student loans. I've kind of accepted that in order to follow my dream job and do what I want to do, that I'm just going to have to deal with that monthly law school loan payment for quite some time. And, I've been lucky that I was encouraged by my family. My dad always said that if you love what you do, you'll never have to work a day of your life. So, I feel like that's kind of been how it is. And you just have to make cuts. I think my issue is I have that monthly loan payment to pay off this law school degree, but I'm also then, driving a car that might break down every so often. So you just kind of have to make those financial adjustments where you see fit to be able to, follow that passion. But again, I don't regret it. I think that there's been a lot of young women who have asked me, they want to be journalists, but they're also interested in law. And I just say, do your research, try to apply for as many scholarships as you can, because it is expensive.
Could you speak briefly about what it's like being a female reporter in this area of journalism that you cover?
Yeah, actually, I think that's a really great question that you asked me. I was involved in journalism in Missouri, a little bit in Florida while I was in law school. I still kind of did some radio down there and some TV, and then back in Texas, where I'm originally from. And there is a lot more, I don't want to say sexism. I hate to point that finger, but I do feel like it's more rampant here in Washington. And I think it's just because you are competing with a lot of men. Men still dominate not only the news industry, but Capitol Hill. And so I'm lucky and fortunate that where I work, I've never felt that or experienced that, but I've seen it on, of course, in politics on Capitol Hill as covering various stories. And even just amongst working with different spokespeople, I'm sure you ladies have seen it too. And I think it's just something, you believe in yourself, where you stand. I will say it's interesting that we talked about me going to law school and whatnot, because I do feel like as soon as sometimes there's, someone finds out I'm a lawyer, the tone changes a little bit in those email correspondence. So it's an uphill climb, but I think that it's changing, and I'm lucky that I have great supervisors where I work personally. And I think that as women, that's what we have to find.
We talked a lot about this on previous episodes, sending the elevator back down. And really, once you get to your peak or where you've been, being that mentor, and you've talked about supervisors that you've had in your current position, how do you do that? How do you, in your everyday life, make sure that you're sending the elevator back down to help those who will come after you?
Yeah, I've been very fortunate that I've had mentors help me along the way. One of them is Shannon Bream at Fox News. She's kind of counseled me over the years. She was a journalist. She is a journalist, obviously, but she was a lawyer before that. So she's been able to give me advice. And I've often, I've appreciated it. It's helped me along my career over the past 7 years. And so when I'm now in my 30s, and there's a lot of young, early 20s graduating from journalism school who come to DC either on internships or their first job. And I've tried to always, when they ask to meet for coffee or have a phone call, to avail myself as others have done to me, because I think that we always need to pay it forward and help counsel where we can, even in times where it's not necessarily my industry. I've known some young women who have come here on internships that might be looking more for lobbying jobs, not necessarily in the news, but they want to ask about Washington. They want to ask various questions about what it's like living and working here. So of course, like, I've always made time for that. And I think that's what, we should do. And I always tell them, like, when the roles reverse, just make sure you do the same.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I'm assuming that you also have mentors and coaches and advisors that you look for and toward for advice. So what's the best advice you've ever been given?
Oh, I believe the best advice, I should credit my parents, but I did have a professor in journalism school, and he always said, under promise and over deliver. And I think that that's true for our professional lives and also personal relationships too. I think that, we've all had coworkers who promise to be there, promise to do something, and then drop the ball. But I think we also have that happen with friends, and sometimes that's where it hurts the most. So in my personal and professional life, I always try to under promise and then show up when you least expect it.
I like that. So we have questions we ask all of our guests. So one of them is, what would you tell your younger self if you could?
Oh, that's a good question. Don't set time deadlines for yourself. I think we all think, oh, I'm going to see myself here in a year or 5 years or whatnot, because life, it's full of twists and turns. Think of 2020, what we never thought we'd be doing, all sorts of things from inside our house like this, right? We thought we'd be in a studio, I'm sure. And so I think you just have to roll with the punches and not try to like fit your life into some sort of timeline, because ultimately, you're going to be where you're meant to be.
Absolutely. And obviously you are very busy, but is there a regular routine or something that you do every day that helps you stay motivated?
Well, I do. So I used to, when I lived in Florida and Texas, I used to do half marathons. So I was running all the time, and I thought someday I would do a full marathon. I'm not really sure about that, but I stopped running for a while. And so this year, actually, with 2020, last New Year's Eve, I said, I'm going to sign up for a half marathon. I'm going to get back into running. So I did actually do that. And of course the half was canceled, but I held myself accountable, and I ran 13.1 miles by myself in September, just to like be able to cross that off the list. And I felt so good getting back into that routine that I've kept it going, and I've signed up for one next year. So hopefully that'll be in person. So I guess I've tried to make running part of my daily routine, just for like mental health. Also, it helps clear my mind.
And it's good to keep yourself accountable. Like you said, like the marathon was canceled, but you don't want to quit on yourself. And I think that's a valuable lesson, is you got to make those appointments with yourself and not let yourself down. Well, Alex, somehow this has come to an end. It has been such a pleasure to have you here on the WOW. Before we let you go, can you let our listeners know where they can find you? Just plug any accounts that you have.
Yeah, of course. So my stories are on thewashingtontimes.com, and then my own social media. I am on Twitter. A lot of my stories are shared there, and it's at A Swoyer, my last name. So you can find me, and I love to interact. So tweet me what your thoughts are.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and happy holidays, Alex.
Thank you. You too.
A new decade demands a new kind of wine. As consumers continue to embrace healthier lifestyles with beverages that taste great and keep in line with their dietary preferences, and wine is no exception. Fresh Vine Wine thoughtfully crafts great tasting premium wines that are low calorie, low carb, low sugar, keto, vegan friendly, and gluten free. Fresh Vine Wines pairs perfectly with your active lifestyle without sacrificing on taste. Available in select stores in DC and Maryland.
Wondering what's next on the Washington football team brand journey? Find out with our new timeline feature at washingtonjourney.com/timeline.
It's all-wheel drive season, and your local Honda dealers are bringing the best deals of the year. It's clearance pricing during the Happy Honda Days sales event. Dash through the snow in a rugged and adventurous Honda. Check out the entire all-wheel drive truck and SUV lineup. CRV, HRV, Ridgeline, Pilot, and Passport, with features like Honda Sensing, magic folding seats, and 3 different driving modes. Clearance pricing is here, but it won't last long. Don't miss clearance pricing at the Happy Honda Days sales event, now at your local Honda dealer.
Couchgating is the new tailgating presented by DC Lottery. Enter to win a chance at a Washington football team DC Lottery fan pack. Celebrate your couchgating by sharing a photo using the hashtag CouchgatingDCL. To have your couchgating photo featured on the Couchgating Wall of Fame, please post your photos on social media using the tags Washington NFL, DC Lottery, and the hashtag CouchgatingDCL for consideration. Please note that not all photos will be accommodated on the Couchgating Wall of Fame, and all Couchgating photos are posted at the sole discretion of the Washington football team.
We are heading into Wow Overtime, brought to you by Fresh Fine Wine. And I think overtime this week should be a pretty simple and obvious one. We're going to talk about what we're thankful for. 2020 has been a tough and just unprecedented and wild year for all of us and many of us. And I think during times like this, it's important to reflect and to take a breath and to really think about all the things that you do have right in front of you when to be thankful and grateful for. So I'm going to start. And obviously, I'm very thankful right now for my health, the health of my family. I bought a house in 2020. It's been the peak of 2020 for me. It's just moving on to that next chapter of my life. And I'm also just very thankful for all the opportunities the Washington football team has given to me. I say this, I just gas pedal the Washington football team and the first ladies, but I'm going to pump them up. I'm going to keep doing it. I've been on the team, fortunately, for 6 years, going on hopefully 7, and just the opportunities to travel overseas, to have opportunities that we just had to interview Alex and to meet such amazing people. And this show that Stephanie Jokin gave me the opportunity to do, it's just been life-changing for me in a way. It's that passion project that Janine was talking about, my passion career. And so I am very, very thankful for many things in this crazy 2020.
I like all the things you said. Those are great.
Ditto.
Yeah, I'm happy for that perspective. And I'm very thankful for this show, our producer, Stevie, Julie Donaldson, that's helped us along the way. It's girl power all the way. And I hope that our female fans, our WOW members, are super excited about it. I know when we got the Best in NFL Practice, that post that we put up, they gave us so much love. So I know, we're supporting each other. We're here to be their voice. For me, okay, being thankful. So yes, for all of that we just said. But when we were talking to Alex and she just mentioned 2020 again, and I know we all talk about 2020, but I think this is strange, but I'm thankful for the perspective that 2020 has given us all at the same time. So we all go through things at different times, and we don't quite understand what somebody else is going through. But I feel like 2020 taught us all empathy and to care for one another. And so as crappy as this year is, and for all the lives that we've lost, I think that for once we're almost in the same boat at the same time. And so I think this is somewhere where we can grow from and improve ourselves, improve our country, improve, loving one another. Black Lives Matter, women crush it, kill it. It's great. So my other thankfuls are, of course, for health and for family and friends and new opportunities.
Yeah, and golly, I know, I'm like, I don't want to get emotional over here. But, along the same line, Stephanie, I was going to say something's very similar in the sense that, I always try to look at the positive of every negative. And, obviously what we've gone through in 2020, there's been a lot of down, but the up that I see in it is it's really forced us all as a country to sit still, pay attention, and just take a deep breath. And in many cases, the ability to just put ourselves first, hopefully from a self-care and a mental standpoint, because we literally had no choice, right? We really could not get out. We could not do all of the things. We could not have the hustle and bustle that we normally have. And it really just made you sit down and just realize and be thankful for the things that you do have. So that's been huge for me because the 3 of us are always on the go. The other thing, obviously, just to piggyback on what you all said, obviously, family, my nieces, my nephews, my mom, fighting stage 4 cancer, and feeling like her old self again has been a blessing. And then being able to be more connected in a deeper way with the fans within the Washington football team, being a part of, obviously this WOW show, and being able to talk about something I'm really passionate about around personal and self-development, and having a platform to do that for the women of Washington has truly been a blessing. And then just being able to interview some of the most amazing people, on this show, and then with Washington Salute, Doug Williams and Brigadier General McGee, Jason Wright, Jason Campbell just the other day, and just being able to go into this holiday season and just being truly blessed and thankful for all of the things that maybe I had forgotten that I was thankful for before.
Who was that? What was the song? It might have come out a year or two earlier. It was just foretelling the sit down, be humble. That was.
I literally I will show you, but I have right here on my bar card a sign that says sit down, be humble.
Yes, Kendrick Lamar.
I see every day. Yeah, it's right here on my bar card. When I sit down in my office, I'm like, yes, I will sit down and be humble and think about all of the blessings.
Yes. He was letting us know, get ready.
Yeah, we're ready for 2020. And we're thankful for our listeners. So we're thankful for you wherever you're listening or you're watching, none of this would be possible without all of you or each of you. And also thankful for the Washington football program for all of the growth that they have made this year, and bringing the fans along on that ride. I think, as you mentioned, Stephanie, 2020 has been a year of reflection and self-growth. And we've seen it firsthand, even with the NFL and with programs with Washington football team. So it's been a tough year, obviously, but there are some small glimpses of light and hope to see and to be thankful for. Stephanie, let's talk about what events we have coming up after the holiday.
I just have to add too that I'm thankful for Fresh Vine Wine Chardonnay too.
You don't know are for me.
I'm thankful for all of them. So yeah, just wine, fresh wine in general, I'm thankful for.
Oh, goodness. Okay. So we're having a holiday wellness panel. So as we talk about, going through the holidays, it's not the normal one that we're used to. We can't be with family like we always have been because we're trying to stay home and be safe. And so we're having a panel on December 3rd, 5:30 to 7:15. We will be raising money. My Cause, My Cleats for WOW is going to be Women's HQ, which helps support women of color as they survive domestic violence, sexual assault, getting them on their feet. So we're having speakers talk about financial independence. We're talking about your wellness as far as what you're eating during the holidays, how you're sleeping, your skin, all those things that help you feel good from the outside in. We're going to be talking to a life coach, Dr. Suzanne Nixon. So it's going to be very interactive. So I hope that everyone in WOW comes to this. It'll be great.
Yeah, and if you can, let us know what causes you're supporting. Obviously, we would love you to join in with us as well. And then what you're thankful for this Thanksgiving season. Be sure to comment below and let us know. We would love to hear.
Yeah, and speaking, we briefly mentioned it, but next week on the WOW, we have an opportunity to sit down with Washington's full year coaching intern, Jennifer King. We put it out in the universe and we finally came back around. We manifested this interview. She's going to come on the WOW and discuss the calls she's repping for her My Calls, My Cleats game. You do not want to miss that. That's coming up. And as Stephanie mentioned, while you're home staying safe for the holidays, download the WOW. Check out old episodes. That could keep you company while you're cooking that turkey this Thanksgiving. That's going to do it for us here on the WOW. Make sure that you're following WOW on social media to stay up to date with all the events and what we have going on. Thank you to our partner, Fresh Vine Wine. Until next time, happy holidays.
Happy Turkey Day.
For more than 100 years, Chesapeake Employers Insurance has been helping Maryland businesses keep their workers safe. With competitive pricing and an AM Best A- financial strength rating, it's no surprise that Chesapeake Employers is Maryland's largest writer of workers' comp insurance.
At the end of every workday, someone's waiting for your safe return.
Connect with your agent or visit CEIWC.com.
Locally owned Novec is energizing the community in powerful ways. From sponsoring meals for first responders and medical professionals to donating generously to area food banks, Novec knows we're in this together. Novec and customers are funding crisis energy assistance by having their bills rounded up each month. Novec and employees are supporting local charities through Novec Helps. That's the power of working together. That's Novec.
And now, Time for a Happy Honda Days clearance highlight. The season had grown cold, and the roads were covered in ice. Looking to capitalize on clearance pricing, Amy went down to her local Honda dealer and test drove the entire all-wheel drive SUV lineup. CRV, HRV, Passport, and more. In the end, Amy got a clearance deal on a new Pilot equipped with 3 different driving modes. Boom, baby, boom.
Don't miss clearance pricing at the Happy Honda Days sales event, now at your local Honda dealer.
Fred, this was so nice of us to share Maryland Lottery scratch-offs with our neighbors. Happy holidays, Selena.
What's this? Scratch-offs? Cool, thanks.
Your tuba is a nice touch, Fred. Well, 5 more neighbors to visit. What's wrong? Your lips are frozen to the tuba?
This year, multiply the cheer. Give holiday multiplier scratch-offs from the Maryland Lottery. Top prize $100,000. Please play safely and responsibly.